Mayor Adam O'Neill, the Republican mayor of Belhaven, North Carolina. The website saveourhospital.org. Mayor Adam O'Neill is back with us. Mayor, welcome.
Great to be with you again. Thank you for showing interest in our cause. We really appreciate it.
Well, I thank you for having the cause. I mean, you're doing really important work out there. How are your feet holding up? You've been marching from Belhaven, North Carolina to here in Washington, D.C. How's it going?
Well, I may have told you last time, everybody on the trip has gotten blisters. Even my mother, who's driving our support van, she has gotten a blister from driving the car.
Wow.
But I've been fortunate at this point. I had to put my first moleskin on this morning because I might have had a little blister coming on my heel.
Yeah.
But we're doing good. We're within about 40 miles of Washington, D.C., and we will be there Monday morning.
Wow, that's great. And I think we're going to have you on TV Monday night, as I recall.
Fantastic.
We were talking
Look forward
about
to joining you.
Yeah, and so just for our listeners and viewers who may not recall or know or maybe didn't hear the first segment, tell us what's going on. Why are you marching from? Why is a white Republican mayor in Belhaven, North Carolina, a little town in North Carolina, marching to Washington D.C. with many civil rights activists and people of color, as well as a lot of white guys? What's going on? What's this all about?
Well, we're trying to bring attention to rural hospitals, and one of the issues with rural hospitals is Medicaid expansion. You have these critical access hospitals, particularly out in rural America, that have a hard time breaking even every year. And with the indigent care reimbursement that's fallen, Medicaid expansion is very important to offset the lost revenues. And in the states where they're not accepting Medicaid expansion, the hospitals are really having a difficult time, and hospitals like my community are even being faced with closing. But we also have an epidemic in our country where these large healthcare conglomerates are coming in and buying small hospitals, like the Vidant Health that bought our hospital, and basically have designs on closing them to force people to other hospitals they own nearby, trying to cut their expenses to make more money. We have a situation, I think your listeners really need to hear this. We've got a nonprofit company, nonprofit by the IRS code company called Vidant Health that made $127 million in 2012, made $109 million in 2013, has got $550 million in reserves, and they closed a critical access hospital, earlier this month, and it's outrageous. And the other thing we're trying to do is ask for some bill to be put forth where the Health and Human Services Secretary has to sign off before you can close a critical access hospital. Those are the things that are really important to us.
Yeah, I mean, this would be outrageous even if it was a for-profit company, but it's even worse as a nonprofit company. Now, tell me if my understanding of the events here is correct. Back in the 80s, during the Reagan administration, there was a crisis of people showing up at hospitals sick in the emergency rooms and the ERs turning them away. And so Ronald Reagan signed legislation that said that if somebody comes to an emergency room with an emergency, the hospital has to see them whether they have insurance or not, and if they don't, the hospital has to absorb the cost. And in response to that, there was federal funding, whether it was direct or block grant, I frankly don't know, but there was some federal programs, federal funding to hospitals to help cover the cost of their ERs. Am I right so far?
That's correct. And critical access hospitals got higher reimbursements than hospitals that weren't designated critical access.
Right. Okay. So then
the reason for that is because of the geographic areas they're located where people don't have adequate care.
Right. So then when Obamacare was being written, the predicating assumption, because the Supreme Court had not yet given states the ability to refuse to take Medicaid expansion, and the law explicitly says every state has to. So when they wrote the state, they said, we really don't need these Reagan-era financial supports for these critical care at small hospitals for their ERs activity for uninsured people because everybody's going to have insurance. And so we're going to do away with that and replace it with this Medicaid expansion. But then in your state, for example, Pat McCrory and the Republicans in the House of Representatives and the Senate said, we're not going to take the money, even though it's, our citizens paid that money in tax dollars to Washington, D.C., and D.C.'s offering to give it back to us. And then when somebody shows up at an ER, they'll actually be able to pay the bill because they have Medicaid. They'll be insured. We're not going to take the money to try to basically screw the president. And thus, the money went away because Obamacare did take away that Reagan care money on the assumption it would be replaced
Exactly.
by Medicaid expansion. But John Roberts said you don't have to take it, and you got people like Pat McCrory saying, "Cool, we're not going to take it." Am I right on that?
You're right on that, because the indigent care reimbursements are what you're talking about. With Obamacare, they start going down,
Right.
but they're to be replaced with Medicaid expansion. And when you have the indigent care reimbursements falling and nothing to replace those revenues, you have pressure put on the hospitals. And the hospitals that don't make $100 million a year, the critical access hospitals where heart surgeries, cancer treatments, and all that aren't done at those facilities, they're basically there for emergency care and some hospital beds. Those facilities can't take this because they're just barely breaking even all over the country right now. We're
Right.
going to have a rural hospital epidemic of closing of hospitals if we don't do something.
So you and a group of friends and associates, and people can learn more about this over at SaveOurHospital.org. You all are marching from Belhaven, North Carolina to Washington, D.C. You're going to arrive here in D.C. on Monday. And, on behalf of this issue, what are your specific requests? What are you going to do when you get here?
Well, they can also follow me on Twitter at Mayor O'Neill, and please donate money. I want to get that in.
You got
Please
it.
help us. The things we're trying to do, once again, is bring more attention to Medicaid expansion and get the facts out about it. Number two, HHS to sign off if a critical access hospital is to be closed. Also, we want a situation where communities have at least a year to try and save their hospital if things go bad. And the last thing is we want to bring attention to what Vita Health did to our community. Not only is it a healthcare crisis, our area's main industry is retirees retiring there. It's a waterfront area, a waterfront community. So we have a situation where they have ripped the economic heart out of our community as well. And all this while we have business plans that show our hospital can be profitable. So a big conglomerate comes in and shuts down a hospital that could be profitable, well-run, shut it down to force people to go to another hospital. And this is a nonprofit whose mission is to provide health care in Northeast North Carolina, and they're closing critical access hospitals. That should be against the law.
Do you know if mayors have the authority to seize property under eminent domain? And if so, have you considered seizing this hospital?
We're going to try every method possible. I've got Bob Zellner with me, a civil rights activist.
Uh-huh.
I was talking to him about it, and I keep calling him a liberal, and he keeps telling me he's a radical. But anyway, we're going to take every measure we can.
Yeah.
I mean, if the thing in Washington don't work, we're going to keep right on pushing. Because the reality is people are going to die. So if you're the mayor of a town and people are dying, should you do all you can to stop it? I think you should.
Now your party in general is committed to destroying the Obama presidency no matter what, and including stupid things like not taking Medicaid expansion. Are you getting trashed by your colleagues, your Republican colleagues?
No, not really at all. I've talked to several of my Republican friends, and they say, well, you do what you think's right, and that's what I'm doing.
That's great.
And I think we all have to put people over politics. This is an issue where literally people are dying. They are dying, not going to die. They are dying. And we need to do something about it because, when we talk about people, we need to think about Portia Gibbs, 48-year-old mother of three, wife, who just passed away. Well, her husband was laying in bed at night by himself. Those kids don't have a mother to call up and talk to. I mean, this is real people.
She just died in your town, in your community.
Machine.
She just died in your community because the hospital had been shut down. Do I have that right?
She died 4 days after the hospital was closed with a heart attack.
My God. This is, and these guys call themselves Christians that are doing this stuff. Mayor Adam O'Neill, the Republican mayor of Belhaven, North Carolina. The website is SaveOurHospital.org. The Twitter is Mayor O'Neill. That's O-N-E-A-L. And kick him some funds, too, if you can. In fact, Danielle's going to tweet out. We're going to tweet out Mayor O'Neill, with a thing that says, please help out. Give some money. Mayor O'Neill, thank you.
Thanks.